Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what in the crackhead shenanigans is going on in Pennsylvania, but I'm going to tell you guys. A lot of you guys know how I feel about mental illness. I personally believe, and I know it's going to offend some people, so I apologize in advance, but I feel like for us to so blindly give people the excuse of saying, it's so, we understand why they hurt children because they had mental issues. People do crazy things because they have mental issues. And for me, I have taken a stance to say that mental illness will no longer be an excuse to hurt children. Let me be a little more clear. Mental illness will no longer be an excuse to hurt children. Is that okay with y'all? Because it's okay with me. So I hope it's okay with y'all. We are no longer going to give anybody, including Crescenda Bright, the individual that y'all see on my screen, old ugly face right there, that will no longer be an excuse to hurt our children. This story comes out of Pennsylvania, and police in Pennsylvania found that mother that y'all saw right there standing on the porch right there with dried blood on her hands and clothes after she allegedly shot dead her own daughter, who was 16 years old, and her son. And I'm going to tell you guys, as far as her son, I feel a little bit odd saying this, so I'm not sure how this is going to sit well with people. In this article, they refer to her son as a transgender. I think her son is 14 years old. Now, I know this is going to be sensitive, so y'all hear me out just for a moment. Her daughter and her son. I don't know which one is which age. Let me see. Yeah. So Jasmine is 22. Jasmine Kennedy is 22 years old. Jeffrey Bright is 16 years old. So apparently they had two different fathers because they have two different last names. So the one on the right, who is Jeffrey Bright, they're saying that's the transgender. But let me tell you guys this. That's just a boy that wants to be a girl and might feel a bit feminine. And that's okay. That's his choice. I have no problem how people want to live their life. But I'm going to tell you guys, there is a difference between wanting to associate yourself as a woman compared to you having gender, what do they call that? Genitalia reassignment. And I can almost guarantee you that child did not have any gender reassignment surgery. It's lying. Transgender means to transition. Trans means to move. If you do not move from one thing to the next, then you did not transition. You did not transgender. Does that make sense? Am I pissing somebody off right now? There's a reason that I'm bringing that up, because I'm telling you that this mom did this probably with a clear conscience because she was probably mad at her son, okay? That individual that y'all see right there with that crunched up face, like her face looks like a balled up piece of paper. Her name is Crescenda Bright. I think her name is Crescenda Ann Bright, to give her full name. She is 48 years old. Why she looked like somebody's great grandmother. And she called the police to her house on Maplewood Avenue in Ann Bright at 1:30 p.m. on Monday and met them outside. When police arrived, they observed her gory clothes because she had blood and all kind of crap on her, and they asked if she was bleeding. The mother replied that the blood came from her own two children. Interim Police Chief John DeLuca said officers found a gruesome scene inside Bright's two-story brick home. And I want to warn you guys, if you're listening to my video, the details are going to get really bad. So if you need to exit the video, then I understand. This might be the time to exit. For everybody else who wants to hear the details, because nothing is more difficult with us listening to it compared to what these kids actually had to live through. All we got to do is hear their story. I don't think that's quite so bad. Nonetheless, her children, born Kiara Bright, 16 years old, who was transitioning from female to male and went by the name Jeffrey, and Jasmine Kennedy, 22 years old, were shot in the head and face, the Beaver County coroner said. Now, the reason why I brought up what I said earlier about the whole transgender thing is, why would we even need to know that? Why would we need to know that the children that she murdered, which were her own children, one of them was transgender? Why would you even need to tell us that? Why should it even matter? You gave birth to a human being. You murdered that human being. We should treat you as such and put you in prison for life. If not, give you the ultimate penalty under law. Everybody understand? I'm just saying, if you're going to mention something, at least be right about what you're talking about. And what they're talking about, this whole transgender stuff, is not accurate. She had a child that was 16 years old, and she murdered that child. She had another child that was 22 years old, murdered that child, and they were shot in the head and in the face. What the hell is wrong with this woman? Why was she even, like, I'm curious to know what her reason was for doing this. The mother was taken to the county jail with no incident and was charged with 2 counts of homicide. During the police interview, Bright allegedly admitted to the killings. She told him exactly what she did, telling detectives that she shot her daughter while she was lying in the bed in an upstairs bedroom. Boy, that is just another level of evil. You laying down sleep and you shoot him in the head. She went downstairs and pointed the gun at her son, and they're still saying her son. I thought she would have, never mind. Anyway, she went downstairs and pointed the gun at her other kid, who she said begged her, "Mom, please don't shoot. I'm going to call the police," according to the complaint. So this child begged for its life. And the mom had no regard for human life, for anything, and shot this kid in the face. The mother pulled the trigger initially, but the gun didn't fire. So the mom definitely should face the ultimate penalty under law. If they have the death penalty in Pennsylvania, she should definitely face it, because she thought about this. The gun jammed, the mom fixed the gun jam, and then shot the kid in the face. No excuse for that. Now, according to a criminal complaint, Bright said that the teen was still moving and was not dead. So guess what the mom did? The mom took her went over to the kid because the kid was still moving and was not dead. She shot him in the face again because she said that she didn't want the kid to suffer. Wow. Crime scene investigators found Kennedy in an upstairs bedroom and her brother in the basement. Both siblings had been shot in the head and the face. The motive for the shootings was unclear. As far as I saw, she was always good to her kids. Her kids were always happy, according to a neighbor by the name of Sam Bruno. I just feel really bad for her. I feel worse for her kids for what happened. Now, I know you heard what the neighbor said. We will address what he said, because he actually said it in a video, so I'll address it then. Jeffrey Bright, who went by the name JJ, was a student at Ambridge High School. District officials posted a statement offering condolences and providing assistance to students, parents, and teachers. Trans Family of NWPA, a supporting group serving the transgender community of Northwest Pennsylvania, on Tuesday posted a status update on Facebook mourning the boy's death. JJ was a beautiful person with the biggest and brightest smile. We will miss your laugh. We will miss your jokes. You will never be forgotten. We'll get into all that other stuff in a minute. Let me give you guys the fair usage, because I know there's a lot to talk about. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Okay, here's the video. And if you guys are watching right now, if you would, help bring more people to watch this live stream and click that thumbs up. Our goal tonight is about 400 to 600 thumbs up. The closer we can get there, it'll bring more people in, okay? Thank you. Let's watch the news videos.
Shock has turned to sadness in Ambridge today, 24 hours after police say that a mother killed 2 of her children. We first brought you the story as breaking news yesterday at 4.
And today, Royce Jones has learned new details in this investigation. Royce.
Kim, good evening. Monday, police described this scene as gruesome, and today, yellow crime scene tape and a temporary memorial on this front porch mark the tragedy that happened inside of this home. The woman on your screen, Crescinda Bright, is behind bars on criminal homicide charges for shooting and killing her 22-year-old daughter, Jasmine Bright, and 16-year-old son, Jeffrey Bright. According to investigators, Bright admitted to shooting one of her children in the bedroom, then walking downstairs and shooting the second one. All of this unfolding around 1:30 p.m. Monday. Police say the mother is the one who called 911 and told dispatch where she left the gun. Police also say the mother is the one who... Police also say crime scene investigators found both of the children dead when they arrived on scene, one in the bedroom, the other in the basement. And while the crime has disturbed everyone in this community, those who knew the mother say it's just unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives, but something had to happen for her to do that. That's not her.
I'm going to rewind this and let y'all hear this again. Listen, this is the neighbor's interview, and I want you guys to hear exactly what he said. And again, if you guys are watching, we just started, so you haven't missed anything yet. Listen to what the neighbor says. I don't know if any of y'all caught that. Let me play it again.
Is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives, but something had to happen for her to do that. That's not her.
Disturbed everyone in this community. Those who knew the mother say it's just unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives, but something had to happen for her to do that. That's not her.
And this is part of what I'm talking about. I don't know if a lot of people watch news clips the way that I watch them, because I pay attention to what people say. This man said that this is not her. She's not a murderer, even though she murdered her kids. That's not like her, and something had to have happened to make her do this. Does anybody out there in the chat right now understand what he actually is saying by saying that? I'll give you guys about 10 seconds if you want to type it in and tell us what you believe what he's actually saying. Because that is by far, I know he think what he said was good, but it was actually by far one of the dumbest things. And we've heard a lot of dumb interviews, but that was real dumb. That was real dumb. Thank you. Church Lady Reed Show got it. What he's saying is that the kids caused their own death. I know somebody out there has been listening to me for a long time. Thank you very much, Church Lady Reed Show. He blamed the children. She's not a murderer. That's not who she is. Something had to have happened to cause her to do this. There was nobody else around, only the kids. So who would have caused this to happen? You're blaming the kids. Let's listen. Okay, you said rewind it. Let's listen again. I'll be more than happy to let y'all hear it again. I'm going to be quiet.
Arrived on scene, one in the bedroom, the other in the basement. And while the crime has disturbed everyone in this community, those who knew the mother say it's just
Listen again.
unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives.
Who knew the mother
Is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives.
unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives.
Unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives.
Sam is not a murderer, but he did take somebody's life. Sam is not a rapist, but he did rape that woman. Sam is not a criminal, but he did kick in that person's door and rob them. Sam is a good person, but he went into church and shot up everybody. Sam is a good person. Yeah, everybody understand where I'm coming from? Do I need to keep giving more examples? Sam is a good father, but Sam took his child and threw his child out of the window. Sam is a good husband, but he beats up his wife every day. That's called an oxymoron. If I'm wrong about that definition, which I could be, y'all know I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but let me know if I'm not right about that, but I think I'm right. That's called an oxymoron. He is a moron, by the way. She's not a murderer, but she committed murder. And I thought about this as it was playing the very first time I saw it. That was the first thing popped in my head, and I just wanted to point that out to you guys. When I watch videos, I just hear stuff. Listen again.
Unbelievable.
Chris is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives, but something had to happen for her to do that. That's not her. Is not a murderer. She did take her kids' lives, but something had to happen for her to do that. That's not her.
And I know people might be wondering, why is DJ rewinding? Okay, we heard it. Why am I rewinding it? It's because of this. It's because most people didn't catch this the first time around, and because of the fact that you have to ask yourself, why is this man defending this woman? Why is he defending her so hard? Does he know more than what we actually think he does? Was he complicit in the problems that there were going on in that house? Huh? Because I don't understand how somebody can admit to murder, commit murder, be arrested for murder, and you come out and say, no, she didn't do it. That's not who she is. Why would you defend her character when even she said that she did it? Makes you wonder. Could be his side chick. Who knows? Maybe he needs to be investigated. Who knows?
And the people who knew those two victims say their lives were both beautiful and bright. Coming up, live at 5 o'clock, hear how people who loved those two want you to remember them. Reporting in live in Amber.
Yeah, well, if people are still having heavy hearts over what has happened in that double homicide here in Ambridge yesterday, and right now people are gathered at T.J. Call Memorial Park in the heart of Ambridge, where they're about to start their vigil that is scheduled to begin exactly now. You have a few dozen people here who are here to remember the two victims who were slain.
Friends and community members prepare for a vigil to remember and honor the lives of 22-year-old Jasmine Kennedy and 16-year-old Jeffrey Bright. Police say their mother, Crescenda Ann Bright, shot one child who was laying in bed. The other was shot while trying to persuade Bright to put down the weapon. A neighbor believes Bright was trying to cope with mental struggles.
A couple months ago, so she was gone for a couple of days. Asked her where she was, and she said that she had committed herself into psychiatric help.
She told you that?
Yes. We were friendly. We talked.
It is a tragic double murder that has stunned residents on Maplewood Avenue and Ambridge at large. Neighbor Sam Bruno is especially shaken.
I was crushed. I'm devastated still. Chris was a good lady. Her kids were good kids. She just had issues.
Y'all heard that? Let's rewind it. He's going and defending her again.
Bruno is especially shaken.
I was crushed. I'm devastated still. Chris was a good lady. Her kids were good kids. She just had issues.
She just had issues. Okay. Yeah, he needs to stop giving interviews because I think it might be time to investigate Sam Bruno because I think that man knows something.
A mother is now charged with shooting and killing her 2 daughters. The murders happened this afternoon in Ambridge. The woman turned herself in and was charged late tonight. Jennifer Barrasso is live with the new information from the DA. Jennifer.
That's right, Ken. Well, the Beaver County DA confirms that Crescinda Bright is charged with 2 counts of criminal homicide, accused of killing 2 of her children, 2 daughters. And according to the criminal complaint, Bright reported those crimes after calling 911. The big question is, why?
Gruesome scene.
Crescinda Bright of Ambridge is charged with 2 counts of criminal homicide. The 48-year-old woman is accused of shooting to death 2 of her children, 2 daughters inside their home, 908 Maplewood Avenue, Ambridge, Beaver County. KDKA has confirmed Crescinda Bright of Ambridge is charged with 2 counts of criminal homicide. The 48-year-old woman is accused of shooting to death 2 of her children, 2 daughters inside their home, 908 Maplewood Avenue, Ambridge, Beaver County. According to the criminal complaint, after the shootings, Bright called 911 to report the crimes. When police arrived, they say she allowed them into her home, and they found the bodies in different rooms of the house.
When the officers arrived on scene, they found 2 deceased individuals inside the residence. And at that point, we also made contact and took an adult female into custody for the shooting.
Police shut down the block as they collected evidence. Rachel Cruz had to get a police escort when she tried to drop off her son's friend, who lives nearby.
I'm a little nervous. My mom lives right on Church Street, right up a few blocks from here, so I'd like to make sure she's okay.
Hours later, police took Bright from the police station to the Beaver County Jail, where she will be formally charged. Meantime, police are still trying to track down family members of the victims.
No, we're not going to identify the victims in any way until we have confirmation from the coroner.
Well, they've already identified them. Let's go ahead and go to our last video, and then I'll tell you guys my closing thoughts. We still got a couple more stories to tell right after this one.
All right, Ron, thank you. We want to get to this breaking news, a tragic story, and new details coming in following that deadly shooting in Ambridge. A mother is now charged with killing her 2 children, and while you were sleeping, the names of those victims were released. Amy Wattis joins us live from outside the Ambridge Borough Police Station with the tragic details. Amy?
Heather, we are learning the 2 people killed in this shooting were siblings. Now, the Beaver County coroner released their names overnight, and they are 16-year-old Kiara Bright and 22-year-old Jasmine Kennedy. They were both shot in the head, and the coroner ruled their deaths a homicide. News Chopper 2 flew high above the crime scene yesterday. Now, this is the 900 block of Maplewood Avenue in Ambridge, and that's where police found the siblings inside the home. Their bodies were in separate rooms of the house. The Ambridge police chief called it a gruesome scene. The suspect, investigators say, their mother. The Beaver County District Attorney says she's 48-year-old Crescinda Bright. Police say Bright called 911 after she allegedly shot her children to report what she did. She let detectives into the home, and that's when they say they found the bodies.
When the officers arrived on scene, they found two deceased individuals inside the residence. And at that point, we also made contact and took an adult female into custody for the shooting.
The superintendent of Ambridge Area School District released a statement mentioning that one of the victims was a student at Ambridge Area High School. He said in part, quote, "The Ambridge Area School District has a crisis intervention team made up of professionals trained to help with the needs of students, parents, and school personnel at difficult times such as this." Now, he went on to say counselors are available if students or parents need someone to talk to. Crescinda Bright is facing 2 counts of criminal homicide. She is currently in the Beaver County Jail. As far as a motive, we don't know yet what that is. We're waiting on more information, and hopefully a criminal complaint will be released later this morning. Reporting live in Ambridge, Amy Wattis, KDKA News.
All right, let me give you guys my closing thoughts about this particular story. First and foremost, let me say this. Hashtag see something, say something. If you know something, it is imperative that you guys say something, because these children, well, these children are quite a bit older than the ones we normally talk about, but I don't really know how they're supposed to be able to defend themselves if their mother went and got a gun and shot them in their sleep. That just really sucks on so many levels. So I want everybody to understand that I feel so bad for those young souls being 16 and 22 years old. That's just so ridiculous. But let me also say this. Where is the biological father of these kids? If this mother, I would love to know the reason why she did this. With one being 22 years old, I'm not exactly sure why that 22-year-old was at that house sleeping. Maybe, look, I understand what it's like to be in your late teens, early 20s. You're still trying to work in life, and then COVID hits, and then, so finding a job, keeping a job, all of that kind of stuff, it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of living to try to get yourself together. So maybe at 22 years old, she didn't have herself together. I totally understand that if that was the reason why she was living at home. But at 22, I'm hoping that by that point, you might be closer to on your way to being independent at that point, okay? Still no excuse, though. And by the way, talking about no excuses, mental illness is no excuse to commit murder on any level. Because if your mental illness is that bad, then you should not be a parent. And I've always said this, and I'm going to stand on this, and y'all are going to find out as time goes, Jay was right. Mental illness cannot be an excuse to commit murder and abuse. Because if that's the case, if it's so bad and you're so mentally distraught and so mentally messed up, then you should not have any children, any human beings, nobody in your possession. You should live by yourself. You should live alone. You should go get help. That's the way I feel about it. You for damn sure shouldn't be a parent if you so-called have these mental issues. Okay? I want everybody to understand that we are going to take a stand here at the AFC, and we are not going to continue to allow society to say, well, this is the reason why this happened. It's no longer going to be an excuse. People should no longer get lighter sentences just because they have mental issues. Okay? We have to start taking a stand and protecting our children, especially for those who are defenseless, those who cannot speak for themselves, and those who are under the tyranny of their caretakers. I want this mother to get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. If this were a man, if this were a father, he would not get any excuses at all. Since we're equal in America, since we're equal in this society, then I think that we should also hold mothers responsible, because I think mothers are awesome. Mothers are strong. Mothers are amazing people that create life. And just as well as amazing as they are, heavy is the crown that is on the head of the king and queen, and it comes with a lot of responsibility to be a parent. And if that's the case, then I think they should be held just as equally responsible. Just as well as you're willing to get the rewards and reap the benefits, then you should be held responsible for all of the consequences. I hope I made myself very clear. I'm DJ Just Jay. We're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. I want to say RIP to the souls that were lost. Jasmine and Jeffrey Bright, young souls, RIP. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Thank you.